What's up, peeps? Pray you're doing well. I wanted to come and announce to you March 21st, we're having a financial seminar helping families, helping people become solid brick by brick. And this session, we will be talking about budgeting, putting a budget together. But I wanted to drop a tip today to really talk about insurance. I was thinking about like worst case scenarios, like God forbid something happened to you, and I was looking at some quotes for some friends and for some folks that I care about, and I want to make sure that they're solid. Want to make sure that their legacy is solid, and it just I began to think about you, and I began to think about worst case scenarios. I began to think about uh, Dave Ramsey and financial peace and all of those things. And I just wanted to go over some worst case scenarios. Obviously, there's no one thing fits all, one size fits all when it comes down to insurance and even in the world of financial planning and wealth planning, because families want different things, right? But in the worst case scenario, I was comparing term and whole life, looking at these two items, particularly whole life in the sense that it doesn't have to be paid out, or you don't have to pay premiums for all of your life. I remember somebody approached me about it in the mall. They were selling it, and I didn't want nothing to do with it because I was like, I don't want to commit to making payments forever. So I was a termite. I was thinking term. But then I realized that after the term is up, what you going to do? By the time the term is up, you're older now. So now the rates are jacked up. So as a worst case scenario, just, that's something to think about when you are planning and you're thinking about your legacy. 20-year comparison, let's say $50 a month gets your family $500,000 over the course of 20 years. Worst case scenario is you live, you haven't, there's no payout. The insurance company takes that $50. What is that? $600 a year. They take that money and it's theirs. So another worst case scenario is, in any case, in any scenario, you passing is a worst case scenario, right? We don't want you to pass. Whether you have insurance or you don't, we certainly don't want you to pass away, right? We want you to live long and strong and healthy. But another worst case scenario is you live past the 20 and you don't get anything. If you haven't put money away, if you haven't put investments aside, then what are you leaving your family? Well, there are whole life policies that you can pay for 20 years and you still have it for the rest of your life. Game changer. Or you can do it for 10 years. There's 15 years. You got these policies where you only pay 10 years and you still got it for the rest of your life. Another game changer with this whole life policy is the cash value. You can use that cash value before the 10 years is up, during the 10 years, or even after that time period. You can use that cash for, let's say, putting down on a house, putting down on a car. You can use that money. You can decide to use that little pocket, that little sliver of cash. You can use that as another savings. And I'm not going through all the numbers, but in my scenario and in my case, we always leave room for that cash. In other words, we don't assign every dollar to the death benefit. So let's just say a real simple $100 policy. Your entire $100 is not going into the death benefit. You'll probably put about $75 to $80, sometimes even less, depending on how much money you can put down. But in most case scenarios, if you don't have a lot of money to put down, we're putting about $75 to $80 towards the death benefit, and whatever's left over, whether it's 20, 25, 18, whatever that is, we're putting that in the cash value. And sometimes we can even increase that. We could do it like a 65 to 35 kind of split. But in that case, we are building value the whole time. So we've got cash working and it's building up and it's gaining momentum. At the same time, there's a smaller death benefit that maybe you wouldn't, maybe it's not as big as 500,000, but it's something. Maybe it's 100,000, maybe it's 75,000, but it's also increasing as well as the money is continued to accumulate in that policy. Once again, there's no one size fits all, but it is certainly something to consider, especially being the fact that even after the time is up, that 20 to 20 comparison, that 20-year time is up, you're still covered. And you still have that cash that's available that you can use for something else. Now, we're still talking about small numbers. We're talking about what, $50 for a term? We're talking about $100 for a whole life. Obviously, with terms, you can go much cheaper. You can get a 20 to 20, $10, $20, $30 term policy, real cheap, real easy. But even for the whole, we're only talking about $100, right? Small numbers. So I would still stress to you that even with these small numbers, you should still be putting money away in some type of investment somewhere. However you do that, that's completely up to you. And also based upon your age and your full financial picture. But once again, I wanted to come on here, let you know about the financial seminar, March 21st, in person at Now Church, as well as to let you know that Whole Life is not bad. It is actually a pretty good tool, and I happen to use both. God bless you.